I have been thinking for quite a while about tackling this subject, but I haven't really found a good way to come about it. And I kind of just decided over the past couple of weeks that, you know what? Instead of doing like a big, long history lesson about time travel, I would stitch a couple of videos and talk about it along the way. I figured that would be the best way to come about because I'm not educated enough in the physics of time travel, and neither are probably most of the people watching or listening to this. Not saying that people aren't smart and educate themselves about it, but do we really know? Anyways, on today's episode of Too Boldly Pod, time travel. We all know about time travel. We all know about it from science fiction. But if you really think about it, don't we all sort of travel through time each day as we get older and older? But can we go back in time? That's the interesting part about time travel, at least to me. Most people would probably choose to go back in time, and then we get the whole butterfly effect and all of that. And if by chance you don't know what the butterfly effect is, it's if you were to go back in time and step on a butterfly, you would unknowingly change a chain of events that would alter your current surroundings just by stepping on that one little butterfly. It's kind of the same thing when people mention about going back in time and killing your one of your parents or something and you would cease to exist. So it's a deep conversation about time travel. But yet people claim that it's real, that it happens, that it's in actuality. So let's find out a little bit about time travel, shall we?
This is one of the strangest and authentic time travel stories ever recorded. On the 29th of January 1995, a 21-year-old man named Mike Markham was arrested in Stanbury, Missouri for stealing 6 300-pound transformers from a local power station. But what drove Markham to commit this strange act was even more unbelievable. According to Markham, he had been trying to build a time machine on his front porch using a compact disc laser. He claimed that his device had successfully generated a vortex, causing a metal screw to vanish and reappear a few feet away. His ultimate goal? To travel back in time and retrieve winning lottery numbers? After serving his sentence, Markham went public with his story on the popular radio show Coast to Coast AM. He explained his experiment and his intention to rebuild the time machine, this time legally. With financial help and advice from intrigued listeners, he managed to reconstruct the machine. During the interview, Markham joked that if he ever did go back in time, the only thing he'd bring along would be his cell phone. A few weeks later, Markham vanished after reportedly activating his machine. Witnesses, including friends and family, claim to have seen a strange bright light coming from his porch the night he disappeared. Years later, in 1930s California, a strange steel tube was discovered. Inside was the crushed body of a man, along with a device resembling a 1990 cell phone. While this is purely speculative and remains unproven, some believe it could be connected to Mike Markham's mysterious disappearance.
And that's what we're going to get this entire episode is a lot of speculative and unproven because quite frankly, can we really prove time travel? And we're going to Coast AM because they are sort of at the epicenter with some of the time travel stories that you're going to hear on this episode of To Boldly Pod, but I thought, how did I want to tackle talking about it? And I decided there's two semi sort of recent documentaries that came out within the past 10 years that sort of highlight modern day time travel thought processes. And then the final one will circle back to Coast AM and talk a lot about the infamous John Titor time travel ideal.
It sounds like a plot from a movie. Police are trying to unravel the true identity of a mystery man.
Time travel. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, when in fact it could be more of a reality than we think.
Scientists now claim time travelers could use parallel dimensions to visit the past.
Police say that it is possible that this guy just has a very active fantasy life, and that it might not be something more nefarious than that.
It was this picture from a security camera police used to identify the man accused of stealing.
It's under investigation what the true motive behind this is. We are exploring his mindset and any possibility that mental health played a role in this.
The one thing police have not been able to figure out, the person's identity.
It was a shock, not only to the public, but to investigators too.
We received startling information from the state lab regarding the presence of an unknown male profile.
The DA says they are still conducting multiple DNA tests. They won't say where investigators are in the testing process.
There's this mystery person. No one knew who he was. A big question back in time and unidentified man.
Investigators are losing hope that one day put a face to a man who so far doesn't show up in any missing person database anywhere in the country.
Now, that clip is from the documentary called The Man from 3036. And you can watch it freely on Tubi or many of the free streaming sites if you so choose to. And they really portray themselves as being an honest documentary with the person that allegedly traveled back in time from 3036, which you're going to hear a clip from him in just a few minutes. But they start off the documentary just like you just saw there, portraying all of these alleged news reports talking about this man who was arrested and claimed he was from 3036. But they're not real news reports. Nobody has ever been able to find any of those news reports. So you can tell right away that we are in the midst of watching a faux documentary. Now, does that mean they didn't create those for dramatic purposes? I suppose not. But they don't ever come out and absolutely say that they made those up. They claim they're real reports. But let's hear from the alleged man. And I edited these up to sort of get rid of some of the dead areas or the pointless areas of what we really wanted to talk about on here.
So you may have seen this story in the news. Time traveler from 3036 arrested. An identified man gets arrested for stealing. Claims to be from the year 3036. Authorities say the unknown man has no birth record, no social security number, and no identification file on record. When asked why he was stealing, he told police he thought clothing and food was free in the marketplaces. He later explained this to be part of the new society in the year 3036, the year he is supposedly from, in the future.
It must be Jack. Do you have a cell phone on you?
Yeah.
Please turn that off now.
If you absolutely must keep it on for emergency purposes, please put it in airplane mode, and please do that now.
Okay.
We're gonna go over here and talk.
Alright. So, why are we here?
I like it here. It's a good place to come and gather your thoughts. You know?
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to meet us today. I expected you to be bald, though, because in all the pictures I've seen, you're bald.
Yeah. I didn't have hair when I first got here. You say people's hair doesn't grow in the future.
Now you're going to notice he makes a lot of claims here during this about how things are different in 3036 as opposed to when this was released in the late teens part of this century. So by doing the math, he has traveled back in time allegedly about 120 year or 1,020 years. So I don't know about you, but I'm dubious about stuff like that because he seems to know a lot about the previous history, assuming he's from 3036. He knows quite a bit about the previous 1,000 years. And I know a little bit, and I wouldn't not calling myself a historian, but I know about the important points of the past 1,000 years. If we go from 2025 back to, say, 1525 or 1025, I know important historical markers, but I don't know intricate details like he claims to know.
Why not?
Radiation. Man-made radiation is so concentrated by the 2080s that people don't grow any hair anymore. Men and women alike.
So, why the mask?
I have to wear it.
And why is that?
My immune system.
Now, later on in this documentary, you just heard him there saying he has to wear it because of his immune system. But later on, they meet up with him allegedly at his house, and he's not wearing a mask at that point, nor the sunglasses.
Everybody in the future has to wear masks or respirators or going outdoors.
When does this all happen?
It's happening right now. If you had any idea what you were breathing in right now, you'd be wearing a mask too.
Why is that?
I already told you. You're not going to want to hear this stuff. There's nothing good about it. How old are you?
42.
Yeah, see. You'll be long gone way before this stuff starts to affect anybody.
What do you mean?
People's health rapidly declines over time. You people are oblivious to it. It's crazy. There's no self-aware people in this time. Everywhere you go, you see children and babies with cell phones in their hands. You have no idea how dangerous it is. You know, in the future, they refer to this time as the idiot era.
Now, you notice he is referencing a lot of stuff that was happening in 2019, early 2020. So, the idiot era. It's almost like he's making, or this documentary is making a socio-political statement about things being too technological, things being too out of control, and calling it the idiot era, which I'm not going to argue with him about. We aren't the smartest society right now, but it just, as this thing unfolds and you're going to hear more about the way the future is coming from him, but he's not really giving any proof or specific details. He's just throwing out random reverse predictions.
No offense, but you guys just don't have any idea. The average lifespan by the 2080s is around 40 years old for men and 50 years old for women. That's all because of the radiation. It gets better. It takes time. By 3010, things have started to look up. But it'll always be a problem. Probably a problem we'll never fix. It doesn't matter.
So do you plan on staying here?
No, I can't go back. The technology's not even here yet, even if I wanted to. I'll say that loosely. The technology is absolutely here. It's just not readily available like it is at my time.
Now, he never really does say how he got here. He just claims that he's here and the technology doesn't exist. Oh, wait, it does exist, but the government has it and isn't sharing it. Throughout this entire documentary, I got the sort of sense that this was all just sort of muddled together between making a social commentary and cherry picking ideas from, say, the Terminator and other time travel movies, because he goes on later on to talk about how it's not necessary, it's a central government, but it's sort of like a corporation.
Perhaps you've heard of the Montauk Project or the Philadelphia Experiment. These are all time travel missions funded by the U.S. military.
So is time travel normal in the future? Like, does everybody do it?
Well, no. Everybody knows that it's real and that it's feasible, but it's restricted for military purposes and elite staff only. If a resident or a civilian is caught time traveling, it's prohibited.
So is the future like they say it's going to be, like flying cars and robots and all that?
Yeah. We've got flying cars. They're called F-crafts. We've got robots, primarily working off of AI.
Now, at this point, he goes into talking about sort of how everything is more generic, more downsized. Doesn't necessarily say population control, but he says population control. So yet another bullet point for things people talk about in today's era of conspiracies and whatnot.